Hello all, welcome you all back to the subject of English Engineering and Management. Today we'll start with Unit 2. So Unit 2 deals with work study and time study. Work study and time study are one of the key important aspects of English Engineering concepts. So here we'll see about the various work study measurement techniques, work measurement technique, time study equipments, motion study, method time measurements, all those stuff will be seen. In this video, the part 1, we'll discuss about the syllabus which are highlighted in red color. Method study, its definition, scope and objectives. Before we start what method study is about, we need to know what work study is. Work study is an integral part of industrial engineering where predominantly it focuses on optimizing the work and it finds ways of improvising the work so that it improves the overall performance. So work study, it is defined as a systematic examination of method of carrying on activities so that it improves the overall effectiveness of the process by effective use of resources, and it sets up the standards of performance which are being carried out. Work study is classified into method study and work measurement techniques. So under work measurement, we'll have two categories. One is time study, the other one is motion study. There are various definitions which are given by different authors. So we'll stick on to the basic definition which has been given by ASME. What work study is about? It is a generic term which are used for techniques inclusive of method study and work measurements, which are predominantly used in the examination of human work, through which you can systematically investigate all the factors which are involved in the process, and you can find out the factors which will affect the efficiency and the economy of the situation. The other definition is being the body of knowledge concerned with the analysis of work method and equipments which are used in performing a job, through which you can design an optimum work method, and the standardized proposed work method can be used for the future applications. What are the objectives of work study? Through work study, we'll be able to analyze the present method of doing job. This job is applicable to even a manufacturing sector or a service sector. You can have to systematically record all the activities which are carried out, and through which you will be able to develop a new and a better method. So, through work study, we can measure the work content of the job. We can quantify the works which is carried out. Rather than speaking on a qualitative terms, industrial engineering is always focused on the numbers, so we have to quantify the work. So work study is a kind of a technique which helps you to quantify the job by measuring the time required to do the job, and through which you will be able to establish the standard time. Work study also helps you to increase the productivity through possible human and machine material resources, through which you are able to achieve the best quality of the product or service at a minimum possible cost. In a simpler term, it is about organizing or optimizing the 4 M's, which are the key aspect of an industry. The 4 M's includes mission, men, material, and money. Of late, they have also added up the 5th M, which is called as the method. We have also seen about this in the previous unit in detail. Benefits of work study. Work study techniques, as informed earlier, it helps you to increase the productivity and the operational efficiency. It also helps you to reduce the manufacturing cost, improve the workplace layout. Though there are many algorithms, more specific algorithm to name a few, we have a craft algorithm through which you'll be able to improve the workplace layout. It also helps you to manage the manpower in a better way, develop a good working conditions for the employees, and improvise the workflow through which you can reduce the material handling cost. Scope of work study. As denoted in the diagram, you could see that work study, the basic categorization is method study and work measurement. They both are integral part of work study, which the ideal aim of both method study and work measurements is to improve the productivity. So method study and work measurements they are closely related to each other, even though they are quite different to each other in specific terms. Method study, the ideal objective is to simplify the job and develop a more economical method of doing it, whereas work measurement, it is more concerned about quantification. It helps you to determine how long a work is to be carried out and what is the ideal time to finish off the work. Method study. Method study is defined as the systematic recording and critical examination of existing and proposed ways of doing work, whereas work method and method study is also a scientific technique through which you can record and critically examine the present method of doing a job. Once the present method is analyzed, you always find what are the possible ways which can be eliminated, through which you can improve the overall productivity, and the improvising method is then used for developing or implementing on a later stages. It can be in a product sector, it can be in a service sector, through which you will be improving the overall workflow of the process, and hence it optimizes the efficiency and effectiveness. The aim of method study. It aims to find the best manufacturing procedure which requires the least time and less fatigue to the worker. Unlike other management concepts, which predominantly focus on the process, method study focus on the workers as well. It also takes into account the amount of work which is carried out by the worker. It also takes into account the fatigue which is incurred by the worker during the process. Hence, it tries to implement a better possible way through which it improvises the process as well as the worker's condition. It also eliminates the unnecessary movement of the workers, materials, and equipment. On a simpler term, as said earlier, it is about optimizing the 4 M's: men, machine, material, and money. We have seen about the objectives of method study. The existing proposed method of doing a job or activity is to be studied first, and we have to develop an improved method through which the excessive material handling or movement is reduced. The utilization of resource and the elimination of waste and inefficient motions is also improvised. As we have seen in the unit 1, waste in an industry perspective refers to any activity, be it a movement of a worker, be it a movement of a material, or be it an additional process which is involved. Waste refers to any activity which doesn't add any value to the product, but it is adding only cost to the product. We call them to be a waste. Unlike the waste which we use it on a general term, an industrial waste definition of waste is quite different. So an activity or any process or any procedure you considered for improvising the product in terms of value, but it is not adding up value, it is only adding up cost, you call them to be a waste. So these are the advantages of utilizing your method study. It helps in lesser fatigue to the operators. Thus, almost similar to what work study is about. Since method study is a part of work study technique, you could see the advantages are quite similar to. Critical advantages to be noted on here is the shorter production cycle time, which is the key important aspect, and moreover, it also helps you to improve the job satisfaction of the workers. Unlike the other management concepts as informed earlier, it helps you to consider the workers' condition as well. What are the steps in method study? Now we'll see about the steps. The first steps is the selection of process. Not all process are to be selected. We have to work it down with the expert members as well as the people who are working there. So the work which has to be studied should have an economic advantage, which when implemented will help the overall productiveness. So selection of a job or a work has to be very critical. It is not that all the work which are carried out in the industry or the plant has to be studied. You have to choose a work which is more critical. We call them to be CTQ, which is critical to quality. So the work which is more critical to the overall quality of the product or the process, you choose that for your method study. Once the work is chosen, we have to record all the facts. That is called as the job sheet. You can look up to any industries, any manufacturing industries, you'll see that a job sheet contains all the details relevant to the job. It includes the person who is doing the job, the time in which it is started, what are the various processes involved, the materials involved, what are the operations involved. All those details would be implemented there in the job sheet. So once you have recorded all the process, the third step is to examine them. You have to look for any alternatives, possible ways of eliminating them, or any ways of combining or changing the process. We will put up an example. There is a process which requires 4 or 5 steps. It goes with a sequential order of linear order of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Method study techniques will always look to combine them or possibility of improvising them. So if in case you can combine on activity 3 and activity 4, that could be combined together, and the new process could involve only 4 steps: 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 includes the combination of 4 and 5. The next step in method study is developing an alternative method under the prevailing conditions. It is not that an alternative method should be just like that on a theoretical basis. It has to be practically implemented considering the current working condition, because and current operating condition would be different to what has been observed or what has been derived from the method study technique. So you have to find the ways. Though you can develop 10 or 15 ways of developing an alternate method, you have to choose the method which is ideal for the current operating conditions. Once that method is chosen, you have to define what are the procedures, the layout, the equipments, and the materials which are required for doing the particular proposed method. So once the proposed method is started to implemented, you can then ensure that it has to be maintained by verifying at regular intervals, which helps to improve the overall effectiveness. Now we have seen about the various steps of method study. The critical aspect of method study is recording of the facts. So what are the various recording techniques which are used? We have various techniques inclusive of charts, diagrams, but we go deeper into the aspect of charts, where you have the micro motion chart and the micro motion chart. And under diagram, we have flow diagram and string diagram. As far as this syllabus is concerned, we are not going deeper into the diagrammatical part. We are focusing only on the charts. So under macro motion chart, we have operation chart, flow process chart, two-hander process chart, and multiple activity chart. Under micro motion chart, we have a SIMO chart. We'll see about one by one in detail. Now, these are your basic method study symbols. Irrespective of the industry, be it in manufacturing or a service industry, you go for any industry, this is a standardized symbol which is used for every method studies techniques. So the circle refers to the operation, which means that any process which is carried out. Say for example, a welding activity is carried out, you consider that to be an operation. The second, a rectangle indicates your inspection, which means that there is no process which is happening out. It is only the inspection of the current process or the product which is being carried out by the respective person. The third symbol, and an arrow mark pointed towards the right, indicates the transportation, which means that there is a transportation of a product or a material from one place to the other. It may be within the plant, it may be from work cell 1 to work cell 2, or it may be outside the plants too. The fourth symbol refers to the delay, which indicates that the current operation or the current process is going on a delay, and it is not meeting the required standard performance. The next symbol is your storage, the inverted triangle, which indicates that either it can be a work in process inventory or it can be a finished goods inventory. Work in process inventory are semi-finished goods which are meant for further processing, whereas finished goods inventory are ones which are meant for distribution to the warehouses. The last one indicates combined activity, a circle inside a square, which means that there are two activities which are carried out, operation as well as inspection together. Now, what are the method study symbols we are using? The detailed description of your method study symbols: operation, inspection, and transportation. As I said, operation is indicated by circle, inspection by the square, transportation by the righted arrow marks, temporary storage or delay by a symbol of D, and permanent storage by the inverted triangle, and combined activity, which means that there are two or activities which are carried over. Now with this video, we'll see about the examples of method study, and the detailed description about the other method study techniques will be seen in the next video. So we'll stop with this in this particular video. This is an example which is indicating that there are so much of activities. You could see that driving of a nail, a mixing process which is carried out inside a machine, a drilling of hole, all these considered to be the operations. Whereas movement of material by the truck or by the conveyor or by the person himself is carrying from one place to the other, you call them to be transportation. The storage, it can be a raw material storage, finished goods storage, or your work in process inventory storage. The next one is a delay, where a person is waiting for elevator, you call them to be delay, because if the elevator had arrived on time, then he would have transferred the materials, or he would have transferred it to the particular product in time, right? So even that considers to be delay. If in case not implementing the ideal 5S places, which means that the materials are not properly organized, even that is considered to be delay, because that will incur so much of time for the workers to choose a particular tools or equipment from the work table. The last one is your inspection. Inspecting includes your examining the material for quality, or the other example can be examining the steam gauge on your boiler. So these are the examples which are quoted, and these are the sources taken from the ASME standard, which are set of process chart symbols. We'll see about the other method study techniques in the next video. Thank you.